Hello friends and welcome to another exciting topic of harbor and airport engineering. Today I'll be teaching you the topic about marine structures. I myself Tushar Patel, assistant professor from Department of Civil Engineering from the college Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center Navsari would like you to welcome all for this topic. So before I begin, a phrase said by Benjamin Franklin: an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Meaning, education requires costly resources like time and money, which are more often hard to find it. But those who do invest these resources often end up richer, not just because they often improve their financial situations, but because their minds are richer too. So, moving forward to this topic, these are the contents for today's topic. We'll start off with the introduction, then we'll move across to the various parts of each and every harbor. So, there are many structures in a particular harbor. These are some of the following structures. Now, as you can see in these figures, right, these are your parts, individual harbor parts: jetty, fenders, trestle, mooring accessory, dolphins, moles, piers, wharfs, quay walls, breakwater, etc. So, moving further, breakwater. It is a protective barrier constructed to form an artificial harbor with a water area so protected from the effect of sea waves as to provide safe accommodation for shipping. As in the earlier topic we had discussed that breakwaters are tend to minimize the velocity of water coming inside the harbor. The alignment of breakwater should be as straight as possible. The interaction angle should not exceed 60 degrees. In an open sea, alignment should be curved to reduce the effect of waves. So, in these figures, we have seen the breakwater. This is the one arm of the breakwater. The second is this. So, these tend to reduce the velocity of the waves coming inside the harbor. You can see in this figure the fluctuations of the river in the before the breakwater and the fluctuations over here in the midst of the harbor. It is very visible that in the between, in the midst of the harbor, there is no fluctuation level of the water itself. So the breakwaters can be arranged accordingly as single entrance, two entrances, and the arms of the breakwater that converge and overlap each other. So these are the arrangements of breakwater. Now, moving forward, what are the factors that are determining the selection of the breakwater? First and foremost will be the availability of construction materials nearby. Next, for the foremost thing, the type of breakwater that are to be maintained will be depending on the depth of water. Next condition will be the sea bottom condition. And lastly, before building any breakwater, we have to see the availability of equipments in the nearby vicinity for the same. So types of breakwater. Breakwaters are divided into three parts. As you can all see, first will be the vertical wall type, second the rubble mount type, third the composite type. Now moving across to the vertical type breakwater. It has vertical or nearby vertical faces on both sides of the sea and harbor side. In this type, the waves are only reflected without freeing and destroying the energy. So there are many types of vertical wall breakwater. They are concrete block gravity wall, stone and concrete masonry, concrete caissons, rock-filled sheet piles, rock-filled timber cribs, and concrete or steel sheet pile walls. So these are the many types of vertical wall type breakwater. Now, as you can see in this figure, this is the wall constructed. This is known as vertical wall breakwater. Now, it is a suitability that where the depth of water is more than 2 times the maximum height of the waves. Then and there, the vertical wall type breakwater will be suitable. Second thing, when the seabed is non-erodible. Now, you are going to construct a permanent structure inside water. So your seabed should not be erodible in that sense, where there are no chances of differential settlement of the foundations. So what are the advantages? Narrow entrances, hence greater protection to the sheltered area. Harbour side of the breakwater can be used for mooring ships. Thirdly, recommended where storage of rock is very much. Maintenance is practically eliminated. We are already building a structure, so the maintenance part would be eliminated in this type of breakwater. It increases the size of harbor basin and reduces the amount of material. Disadvantages: many skilled laborers are required to build this type of breakwater. Special equipments are required for the construction. The repair work, if damaged, is very difficult and it requires a firm foundation. Then and then only the vertical type wall breakwater is being built. Now next we move across to the rubble mound type breakwater. Now these are constructed out of natural rocks, concrete blocks, combination of these both, or any special type of concrete such as tetrapods or tribars. Now as you can see in this figure, there are 3 types of layers shown: yellow color, the green color and the purple color. These 3 colors indicate a full rubble mound type breakwater. The 3 layers are the core or the quarry dust, the intermediate layer, the rubble stones, and the top layer, the blocks. So these form a rubble mound type breakwater. Now they have their advantages and disadvantages. So what are the advantages of rubble type mound breakwater? No special equipments are required. They do not require any skilled labor. Large sizes of rubble can be used without dressing. So there is no point in managing or dressing the rubble size. Constructed on any type of foundation. Construction where there is porous, hence no possibility of uplifting the breakwater. With advantages comes disadvantages. The first disadvantages requires huge quantity of material. Secondly, the initial cost of building this type of breakwater is very high. Nextly, the dressing is not done. So there is an irregular shape of the rubbles which require regular maintenance. Harbour side cannot be used for mooring ships. Occupancy, large area of the basin. As if I can say, the rubble type mound breakwater is being built on a very large width, comprises of all the 3 layers by force. Next we move across to the composite breakwater. Now what is composite breakwater? As you can see in this figure, the bottommost part of that breakwater is built up of rubble masonry and the topmost is built by the vertical wall type structure. Means this is a combination of mound and wall type breakwater. This type is recommended in the locations where depth of the water is great and the foundation is weak. Next, there are other methods for the protection of breakwater. Now, due to the effect of waterways, the toes of the breakwater towards the sea is subjected to erosion. So, it is better to protect those breakwaters. Various methods for protection are by arrangement of heavy concrete blocks, by paving using granite blocks, or using of tetrapods and tribars. These figures are the different types of materials or blocks that can be used for the protection of breakwaters. So in simple sense, what is the comparison between mount type and vertical type? In mount type, the wave breaks at the breakwater, but in vertical wall type, the wave energy reflects, it does not break. Mount type of breakwater is very feasible where we have large entrances, whereas vertical type of breakwater is required where there are narrow entrances. Mount type, regular maintenance is necessary. In vertical wall type, maintenance is practically eliminated. In mount type, the construction is can be constructed on any type of the foundations, whereas in the vertical wall type, it requires a firm foundation. In mount type, recommended where plenty of rocks are available, whereas in the vertical wall type, recommended where there is shortage of rocks in the nearby vicinity. Mount type of breakwater requires unskilled laborers, whereas vertical wall type requires skilled laborers. Next, we move across to another structure that is known as wharf. Now, these are the platforms at which vessels take and discharge passengers and cargo on one side, and it is retained by the earth on the other side. Now, in your mind, it would be that what are these uses? It's a platform built parallel to the shoreline, so it should give sufficient depth to the water for the ships to float. Build to retain or protect the embankment or filling. So, the types of wharfs, open construction wharfs, as I can show you in this figure, this is an open construction wharf, and the second type is solid type wharf. Now, wharfs of open constructions have their decks supported by piles or cylinders. These are the piles or cylinders that are supporting the deck of the wharf. Whereas the composed of earth or rock filled partly confined by some sort of bulkhead, these are the solid type of wharfs. Next, we move across to quays. Now, there is a very slight difference between quay and a wharf. A wharf that is built parallel to the shore, those are known as quays. Now, what are their functions? It is to retain and protect the embankment or the filling on the landward side, to protect berthing on the sea side, and to support the platform above. Next come jetty, a narrow structure projecting from the shore into the water with berths or on both sides and sometimes at the end also. In the form of pile projection, constructed outside the harbor or inside the harbor, and when built in combination with a breakwater, when that is known as breakwater tier. So, there are many uses of jetties. Jetties is a solid platform constructed perpendicular to the shoreline or breakwater. It provides berth to the ships. It is used for handling inflammable materials like petrol, diesel, kerosene, crude oil, etc. And it can be used for dredging in the approach channel. Some of the types of jetties. Now, jetties are classified on two, solid structures and pile structures. In the bottommost figure, you will see the solid structures. See, these are supported by the piers, or you can say the vertical piers. This is known as solid type structures. In pile structures, it may be as open pile structure or pile and cylinder jetties. So pile structure figures, you can see the open type pile structures, and this may be in two types, timber pile structures and steel pile structures. Next are piers. Now piers are the structures built at an angle with the shore. On both sides of piers, berths are provided. Now you can see in this figure a cruise that is exploding the passengers from the ship. Now on this, the platform that is known, these are known as the piers. Next, we move across to the dolphins. Now, what are dolphins? These are the marine structures located at the entrance of the locked or aligned side, a pier or a wharf. What are used for? To absorb the impact force of the ships, to provide mooring facilities, that is, for tying up the ships, or they are also used to shorten the length of the piers and the wharfs. Now, the man standing on any platform, these platforms are known as dolphins. Now, dolphins are of two types. If they are connected to any of the other structure, either jetty or pier, those are known as breasting dolphins. And the dolphins that are used for the mooring of ships, means tying up of the ships, these dolphins are known as mooring dolphins. Next come fenders. Now these are like cushion type materials that are provided on the face of the jetties for the ships to come in contact. Now what is fenders? Fenders are made up of different materials in various forms. You can see in these figures. Majorly of rubbers, tires, the fenders of shockproof fenders and etc. It absorbs the impact of the ship and protect them from damage. Now qualities of good fenders, they should have a high capacity of absorbing energy during the berthing of ships. Now naturally when the ship comes along a seashore, it is naturally a tendency of water to push the ship towards the wharf or jetty or the quay. So naturally a ship made up of material like steel will tend to hit any structure and would like to break it off. To provide that damage, fenders are being provided. So they should be simple in design and the construction would be easily replaceable. It must be able to resist the tangential forces effectively. They should not easily be damaged during berthing and they should not damage the ship's hull. So it is a case that neither the quay, neither the wharf, neither the jetty should be damaged nor the ship's hull should be damaged. So these way the fenders are like a cushion to both the ships as well as the other structures of the harbor. Next we move across to trestle. Now it is a structure connecting a main berthing pier to provide access to the shore. These are the piers which are lighter in weight and are designed to withstand only the vertical loads. Normally they are made up of timber. They act like a bridge between the pier and the shore to facilitate the shipping. Moles. These are the rock fill extending out forms of the shores. The top surface of the structure provides a roadway, railway track, sidewalk, etc. Now as you are seeing in this figure, the sides are filled with rocks and we have a walkway that is going towards the shoreline, from the shoreline to the seashore or from the seashore to the shoreline. These are more economical than trestle in the water, having a depth of only 3 meters. Mooring accessories. Now the arrangement of such bow, stern, spring, breast lines are necessary to hold the ship stationary with the dock and to load or unload the cargo as well as passengers. Now ships tend to move due to the wave effects in the water. So for that the ships are tied to some instruments. These instruments are known as mooring accessories. Now various type of accessories are bollard, corner mooring posts, chokes, capstans and cleats. So these help the boats to stay stable and along the seashore. So my dear friends, I hope you have been well learned about the structures of the marine. Next time we'll look into some interesting topics more. Thank you for this lecture.